Hey everybody.
Hello.
Tuesday with Tanya. I'm here with Candice. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you.
For having me.
You're welcome. Thanks. Thank you. We're in Coventry. Enjoying our time here, talking about Johnson's Pond. So definitely feel free to write a comment if you have a comment about Johnson's Pond or about anything that goes with it, with the whole controversy. I'm not sure how we should start, or so your first interest in it was, I'm assuming you have, what do you think? What was the first things of it?
I saw it on Facebook, somebody's like, somebody bought the pond. What do you mean somebody bought the pond? And I'm like, how does this happen? And this is my son Scott. And so, say hi. Hi, people.
He's enjoying the delicious pizza. I'm sorry.
And I was, and it was like not too long, maybe like a year after the pandemic came down, I found out about it. Like, I read an article that there were like dead fish in the pond, and I'm like, it was interesting because like Johnson's Pond is just there, to a lifelong resident like me. There's just Johnson's Pond, and like everybody's got a relative or they know somebody that's on the pond, and you go swimming in it, whatever. Like, throughout my life, I've gone fishing on the pond. I've gone, and I never even lived on the pond. So people have been like really kind and sharing. And so that's what got me interested. It's like, what is this? Facebook picture, upside down fish in the water. Like, that's not good.
Right.
So the more I looked into it, the more I got interested, and I did a couple of essays for school. And I was going to CCRI at the time during the pandemic, and I just wrote some essays about what I did to find out more. Because I think that's more important than what side anybody is on. I do have a side. I don't like the new owner of the pond. I don't like what they're doing. However, I don't know everything about what they're doing. So, but I can definitely like speak to what I did to find out what's going on.
Right. Yeah, sounds good. And hey guys, don't forget, we're here talking about Johnson's Pond today in Coventry. So if you know anyone that's connected to Coventry, or anybody wants to drop a comment regarding the pond, whether you're for it, against it, whether you're for social holdings or you're against them. Hey Bobby, I know, I got it right here. She's a friend. So I like how you said that though. So you're basically saying, just in summary, the way you just worded it, you're not trying to create drama, you're just trying to put an education out there about the whole situation, and
we need to have a healthy discussion in the community. Yeah. Like, there's a lot, like, I mean, there's a lot of like anger and side taking. So my goal is to like just kind of like put that to the side and really focus on like, okay, can this benefit the community? Is it not going to benefit the community? What's really happening? Let's find out with like, there have been some personal experiences that people have shared with the state, and there have been a couple of interviews with Sosha that have gone online, and they've stayed online. So Sosha's had his say, he's had his point of view given out, and they've even been, I think, I'm not sure, but I believe that his attorney may have interviewed about it with the Senator Rep Peckus on the news, but check it out. Don't take my word for it, because I'm not an expert. I'm just a citizen. I don't really live on the pond, but it took my interest because I've lived here all my life. Even growing up, a little while away at college, and then I came back here, and I'm raising my kid. So the first thing I did was I went online, and I went to the tax assessor's office in Coventry, and I looked up the transaction in the registry of deeds. So if you've ever bought a house, you'll know that like in the registry of deeds, you have a book and a page number, and that book and page number references your deed and the history of who owned it before you. So if you have a house or something like that, you could go to the tax assessor's office and say, hey, can I get a copy of my deed? So that's what I did. I actually went there in person, and it was very quiet because it was during the pandemic, and I said, hey, I'd like to do some research about Johnson's Pond. So I found the most recent transaction online, and then I knew what book and page number to go to. And I found a world of history that's actually really cool. So I definitely want to promote that. Like, the history is pretty awesome of our town and like its economic development. Like especially in the 1800s, like it was super cool.
Yeah, to even look up, right? To look up something so ancient, so that's cool. That's
so
cool, yeah.
one thing I noticed is that it's not a deed.
Yeah.
It's not a deed, I guess. It says, like, what I did find, and again, there could be like a whole bunch of other stuff that I haven't found that like I just don't have the time to like research, because they're tiny little, all of those like properties around the pond, they were once owned by different people way back in the 1840s. And so when Quidnick Reservoir Company came to town and said, hey, I want to build a mill, let's put a dam here, they bought land from a bunch of different people and they flooded it. But I think the most important piece was Johnson's land, because without it, they probably couldn't have built the dam. But again, that's my logical conclusion, not necessarily what they actually, what actually was there. But when I saw that document that I traced back through the deeds, it was handwritten, it was not online, and the first couple of words said, "This indenture made and entered into." So it didn't say deed, you know, like most of the time, like when I look up things, when I look up a house, if I want to buy a house, if I want to do anything with property, like most of the time I see like either a warranty deed or a quit claim deed. But this said indenture, and I have no idea what that is. And like I still can't speak as an expert on that, but it looked as though that the owners of Quidnick Reservoir Company way back in the day, and John W. Johnson made a continuing agreement through that document. There's more to an indenture than just that. And it can be used in two ways. I think a lot of people have heard about indentured servitude, which they also did. But there's also an indenture type of document where, like, this is one of those things that I don't really know very much about. But it appeared to be more of a continuing obligation, and there was wording that regarded the surface of the water and what could or couldn't be done and by whom. Either Quidnick Reservoir Company or Johnson or his heirs. At the time that thing was written, the indenture or the instrument, I guess they call it,
It's not
a
document. Yeah, it's like a document. But yeah.
So at that time, both parties could come to the water, and I'm trying to think of what it said, and all I can think of is this like curly. The handwriting is beautiful on the document, but I like it was so hard to read.
Right.
Mommy. Yes, honey.
Your turn to see me.
Do you want to say hello?
Let's say hi again. Hey, oh my goodness, who's that? How cute.
Honey.
And so it went from that other company, and then what you call it, Quidnick, and from there Social bought it, or
That's what it looks like. It's very short, chain. You know, from Johnson to Quidnick to Social.
right.
But Quidnick sold all the property around the pond over the years. So over that 100 years, Quidnick Reservoir Company didn't care if people went fishing or boating or swimming or anything like that. But at some point, they started to care about that, and
Quidnick did or no?
What's that?
Quidnick did.
Quidnick Reservoir Company, but that was after the original owners, I think, had passed away.
Oh, okay.
And what happened, Quidnick Reservoir Company as a company evolved over the years, over the last 100 or so years. And so their bylaws and governing documents or governing information has changed with the times, also through the years.
Right.
So that I think that's important to know. That their original incorporation can be found online. The easiest place that I think it is to find it is opencorporates.com. Opencorporates.com, and is really interesting because originally, if you sold property to Quidnick Reservoir Company, you joined it.
Okay,
I'm not really sure. I'm hoping that by speaking about it, other people can pick up on like a thread or a theme or something. So I hope you guys are just able to like use the information to like, you know, educate yourselves and
What's Razor Mouse?
What?
What's Razor Mouse?
He said razor mouse.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. But
not to interject. I'm sorry. Thank you, Bobby. No, I'm sorry. Hi to Bobby. Hello to Mike. I think Mike chimed in too.
Hi.
So he's complimenting you, saying that you're very smooth on this and the research and everything. It sounds great, but however, you're battling against a high-profile guy, which is Sosha. So you're battling against him, who has a top-notch attorneys, who can sway things in court a certain way. I can't disclose name, but I wonder if in case of it. Yeah. Right. So what are you saying? You know the attorney's name? No. You know what? The attorney's name might have been in writing, Bobby. Just so you know.
Yeah, it is.
I think only because there's a document that made it public on one of Coventry. I even forget the guy's name myself.
I remember his name, but I'd like to be respectful of people's names. You know, I'm putting myself out there. But you're right. There is a lot of money, but that's exactly why I'm speaking up. There's a lot of money involved, and a lot of property involved, and a lot of people involved. So it's so important that whatever side that you're on, that you look up the information, make your decision. You know, whatever side you're on. You know, like the situation does, you know, make me angry. I do have a position. I don't like what Sosha has done so far. But maybe he has an opportunity to correct his relationship with the community. That, you know, that would be, in my view, that would be a good idea. To just like correct the tension of what's going on and make sure that we're all informed and that everybody benefits. That's what I want to see. Where was I? Where do we want to go next?
No, I was going to mention about the as far as he's not a nice guy. Yeah. Sorry, Bobby. Which one are you saying? The guy who we represented against him, meaning. I just don't know which guy you're talking about. Where? Sorry. If you don't mind just clarifying, he's not a nice guy. Who? Sosha? I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Bobby. Sorry. Sorry. But thanks for chiming in. Thanks so much, guys. You just say hello if you want to just write a comment saying hello, or your take on the whole Coventry Johnson's Pond thing. You know, what I was going to say is, so what's your response to people who say, hey, you know, Sosha's the owner. He can do whatever he wants. He owns it. Like, how do you and everybody else respond to that?
You know what I say? I think about the show Hoarders, and the reason I think about that is because, like, you have an next door neighbor who is, you know, for whatever reason, and, you know, again, we need to be respectful because, you know, people have their issues. For whatever reason, this person has collected so much stuff that it has become like an eyesore or a problem in the neighborhood. Like maybe there's like something that just rotted and smells, you know, and you never know. So when you see people on hoarders, usually they're on hoarders because their property has become so obnoxious that the neighbors have said something, and then the town or the government or somebody has to step in and say, okay, this is enough. It's not healthy for you to do this. So that's the kind of thing I think about when I think, what can we do to ensure that that everyone's needs are met. We should speak. We should research. We should look it up, and we should be able to decide. Because when you own property and you have a property line, you have that boundary, you expect it to be respected. and that's on both sides. That's for both Sosha. Whatever, like I can't even determine what it is that he owns exactly. It's not in my wheelhouse. Because anyway, I'm just gonna finish the part about the property line. When somebody comes up to your property line and they like put up trees and then it blocks your view of the ocean, it can devalue your property. And if it devalues your property, then you can get them to stop. So it's important to know that and to do your research on what that all is. And then the next thing I wanted to go to was looking at the GIS map, and you'll find I found ecological information. What is actually part of the Flat River Reservoir, also known as Johnson's Pond? Where is Johnson's Pond, the original Johnson's Pond, in relationship to what is now the Flat River Reservoir? And I found that information in Plat Maps Book 1 and 2 at the Tax Assessor's Office. And I also found that in Indenture, I guess, at the Tax Assessor's Office. And I also found so many different transactions by the Quidnick Reservoir Company, and like they had like smaller companies that were similarly named that got like conglomerated together over time. And so if anybody wants to like follow that line of research, like that would be cool too. And then like the most interesting piece of information is in the Plat Maps, because it actually shows a sketch. It's a very like primitive type of sketch, but there's a sketch of what looks like Johnson's Pond, and there's a road or a train track that goes past it. There's a part of me that wonders, is this the spot that's right next to Town Hall? Or because that's where the dam is, but there's just like this little round circle where like a little creek goes in one side and a little creek comes out the bottom, and I'm wondering, like, is this what's right next to Town Hall? And then good kid. So like I think I have more questions than answers, but again, like.
No, it's interesting. So thank you. Guys, don't forget we're here today in Coventry talking about Johnson's Pond. Feel free to share the video, like the video, share it with someone you know who feels passionate about Johnson's Pond, and let them know. They can drop a comment of whatever they think. You can agree with us, you can disagree. I'm kind of like down the middle. I don't know all the details, but in one respect, it's okay. It's like, okay, if he owns it, he has a right to be doing certain things.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, I understand also how it's a community thing, and there was no issues up until now, or at least it appears there weren't many issues up until now. So there may be some kind of a middle of the road agreement that can come, you know, there can be an agreement where things can be, you know, more fair or more whatever, fair for both parties, where things are, you know, done the right way. Maybe Soja has to charge people for certain things. Does he, doesn't he? Like you're saying, if things are in the way. My question is, my question is about him. Does he drain the pond, or what's that rumor about Soja draining it, or dead fish?
He did.
So what's that? Do you have anything to share on that? I don't know what that was about. That's all.
So the place that I would go to get a really, really great reference for that is April of 2022. The State House had a hearing on a bill presented by Senator Rep. Takas, and I spoke at that as well. And Scotty was there too. And like me and Scott are all the way at the end. So if you like rewind from that, you'll get to the issue quicker, because it's many hours long. It's like 4 hours, 4-hour hearing. But there were a lot of people there. There were people who made their own testimony. And then Senator Rep. Takas had this huge stack of emails, like bigger than my head. So if I think it's better to reference that than to like, because I don't have a personal experience, but they talk about the dam being drawn down at inappropriate times, and they talk about the dead animals and the effect that it's had on the people. And these are people's personal stories. So I think you know. Rather, it would be more respectful of me to point to that. And then the interview with Sosha, Jay Messier of Jay Knows a Guy, has a video where he interviewed Sosha for what his intentions for the pond were. So that's where I found out that I disagree with Sosha because of what he said on that video. I'm like, you know what? You know, you're coming in without, you know, and he doesn't. It was clear that he didn't have any experience, and the guy that actually throws the switch on the dam actually testified at a couple of DEM hearings. So, and that's referenced also in the video from April 2022. But enough people have at least privately gone to the government to say, hey, listen, you know, we have a concern that that meeting room was full.
Yeah,
it was full. So it was fuller than when I went to an education meeting, and I've only been to that room twice.
Yeah.
But you can go, you can show up, you can listen. You know, the pandemic is winding down, and so it's we can show up and interact and like talk to each other, and I think that would help everything calm down too. Is if we just maybe as a community posed a solution that would be fair to everyone, and then, you know, so she can have what he wants, we can have what we want, and everybody will be happy. I mean, that's the best case scenario, and that's what I'm hoping for.
All right. Yeah, sounds great. Sounds good. And guys, I'm going to be doing a raffle shortly. I'll also let you know where I'll be next week. Any other like summing up thoughts or any last thoughts that we can cover? Or
The history of the railroad, the Greenway, and the history of all of the mills in the town of Coventry, they were all cotton thread mills and weaving mills. So they were spinning and weaving and very just like the industry and the way everything has turned out. Like, oh, you know what? Look up the Situate Reservoir and how that was built. That was flooded in 1925, and I grew up next to a guy who was displaced from one of those towns. This old guy when I was a little kid, like, I don't know how much time we have. I could, but he was displaced, and he would tell stories about the road I grew up on because it was never there before the reservoir, and like the history down in Clayville, right, kid? Right, Scotty?
Yep.
Clayville, that's part of the Situate.
Yeah.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, and you can, and if you drive around, you're not allowed on the land, I think, but you can see some of the old foundations from the road, and so like a history drive is really cool thing to do that only costs you gas money. That's what I did during the pandemic. I just drove around looking at history.
I know. So, all the time. It's true. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything. And I tried reaching out to Sosha in the past, I believe twice, definitely once, I think twice. I didn't get any response. So if Sosha or any one of his associates or anyone that knows him wants to come on here and do a rebuttal or say this side of the story, they're always welcome. I did try reaching out, no response. And then, yeah, so like I said, I'm kind of down the middle. I kind of see all the different angles on it. And like you had said, too, it'd be nice just to come to some kind of an agreement where everyone's kind of happy about it. And, you know, I mean, it does come down to dollars and attorneys, and that's probably why Sosha's been having the, I guess you call it success he's had, or had it his way, or whatever. It's because it comes down to that, unfortunately. It comes down to the attorneys or whatever. So, I mean, that's my angle on it, at least. But then again, I feel like if he is the owner, does he have a right to do that? He does, but I also don't think he has a right to, you know, ruin wildlife and animals and sea life, and, you know, that's not really right either. Just because you own, you know, the pond doesn't mean you're going to drain it and, you know, and cause all dead fish and all sorts of smells and things like that to appear either. So, you know, so maybe a little more reasonable on his end or whatever. And he can call me. My number's right on the page. And so thank you so much. Thank you for coming up today. Thank you. I appreciate it. School vacation week.
Thanks for listening to me.
Yeah, no, you did great. No, thank you. Thank you so much. And next week I'll be in North Providence. But first, I just want to raffle off our sauce gravy, so to say. I will turn the camera around. Actually, we should have him pick the name. Does he want to pick a name? You want to pick a name? You want to pick a name?
No.
You don't want to pick the name of the winner? You just can't look.
Am I going to get in trouble?
It's up to you, Julie. Yeah, sure. No, I don't know if he wants to pick. Either way, either of you can pick, as long as we fold it up anyway, but I'm not going to know how it looks. All right.
You want to look?
They're folded.
Okay.
Oh my
They're
goodness.
people's.
That's okay. You can't even see the name. They're all folded up. Hey, hi there. Hey, Kathy. Cucina Di Catherina. Sauce and gravy. Sauce/gravy. Who won it? Frank. Frank Baptiste. Somebody can write. Let me just flip the camera. Somebody can write his name. If you want to write his name. So Frank, you won. Frank was winning quite a lot last year. You know something? It's been yes, exactly. It's been a while. You know what, Frank? The funny part is I just thought of you the other day, and I said, God, I'm like, remember when Frank used to win like 2 or 3 weeks in a row? We got here, pretty woman here, Cucina Di Catherina. Frank, you won the sauce. Give me a call to claim it. You have a week to do that. A week to give me a call. If you don't, it gets re-raffled off. No offense. So. Frank, reach out. Somebody can write Frank's name in the comments if you want to, just to show that he did win. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Kathy.
And thank you so much, Tanya, for having me
Thank
on.
you. No, thank you so much.
It's nice to be able to share with a wider group of people, like, you know, where to go for resources and stuff. And, you know, call the library, call the town, and you can get like they'll help you get like copies of things. You know,
Right. And do your own research. It's true.
Yeah.
A lot of this is hearsay. What we're hearing from other people, what they're writing. He's okay. What he's writing on, what people are writing on the internet and stuff. And some can be real. Some could be exaggerated, some could be false. So it's good to always do like your own research. So thank you for your time too. Seriously, it's very interesting, and thank you so much. And you're welcome. And so we have our raffle winner, and next week on the 27th, February 27th, I'll have Steve Smith. So I'll be in North Providence at Orignas. I hope I'm saying it the right way. I know how to spell it. I think it's a newer place in North Providence. Orignas next week, Tuesday the 27th of February. Steve Smith. He's either discussing his life as a musician or as a chef, restaurant owner. We're going to do one or the other. I'm not sure which one yet because he's kind of a guy with a couple talents there, more than one talent. So one of the times he'll be on talking about the food industry, and then another time he'll be about his musical history. So we'll see. So Steve Smith, probably a daytime one also next week. So stay tuned. So all right, thanks guys. Thank you. Bye. Bye. You want to say bye? Bye. Let's hear this one.